Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We ain't linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Free spirit. Ooh, where my girls at? Who minute? Where my girls at?
Where my girls at? It's going down. It's going down. It's going down on Monday. On this marvelous Monday, it is going down. Well, good evening, everybody. You are listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship on 9:10 a.m. The Superstation. And we come to you Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm excited. We have 100% attendance on today. Give us a big hand. Michael, give us a big hand. Give us a big hand. Everybody is present. Everybody is present. And it's so good to see everybody. I know Gloria was out for a day or two and Caterina was out for a day. And we're so glad to see both of them back. And Caterina will continue to lift your family in prayer and sending love and thoughts to Anthony. And of course, Gloria's here looking absolutely gorgeous. Looking fabulous. What's her name, Gloria? What's her name?
Luxury, baby. Luxury is back.
Luxury. Okay. Gloria went away and she came back with luxury. Okay. And she looks absolutely amazing. And so we want to give a shout out to all of you that are listening and watching us on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation Facebook page or the Force of Friendship. Well, I pray that you all had an amazing weekend, an exciting weekend. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad that we are finally getting some warm weather. Today was like 65 degrees. Can you believe it? Hey, I almost felt like putting on a bathing suit and going outside. It was warmer than it has been in a long time, but we're excited to be here. And today we have a great subject that we're going to be talking to you in just a few minutes. We're going to be talking about your EI. Your EI, not AI, not your IQ, but your EI. And that is your emotional intelligence. Do you have it? Do you need it? Or could you use a little more of it? So we're going to be talking about that on today. Because when I tell you, I will testify for myself. I need more of it. And you know what? I have made a decision. I'm going to get some more emotional intelligence, not letting people push your buttons, right? I'm telling you, when we watched the new Supreme Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, and how she sat through those confirmations and she was cool as a cucumber. I sat there and watched that and I said, wow, she's so cool. And I'm over here so hot, which told me you got to work on your emotional intelligence. So we're going to talk about that in just a few, but we want to hear from the girlfriends and see what is going on. Gloria Luxury is in the house. Talk to us. What's going on, Gloria?
I am excited to be here. Happy Monday. Motivated Monday, you guys. It's so exciting. Yeah, I got luxury on today because I'm going to get used to it. I might even wear it outside. I still haven't worn it outside yet, but I'm going to get used to it. I've just come back from a fabulous weekend. It was a big weekend where we had the best of the best in our peak world with us. And so that was great. Come back energized, juvenated, just really a great time. So I'm excited about this emotional management. In fact, I was just on a coaching call with somebody who seriously needs some emotional intelligence because it can really be something that hurts you. So I'm excited to be here. It's beautiful in Baltimore. It's still a little cold. Still, in the lower 60s, but it's no snow, and it's gonna warm up this week, and the sun is out, so it's really beautiful. So, and they're coming and talk to me about mulch and all that kind of stuff. So spring is on its way. Not here yet, but it's on its way. It's on its way. Oh, one other thing. I came home to a fabulous bouquet of flowers. You know how, my girlfriends, their husbands come on and give them a kiss all in the radio and send them flowers. I had to say that I did get some flowers. Woo! And he said he loved me because I always be his number one. And he made me really happy. So I bet I'll let you. Okay, that's me.
Yay, Ken.
Exactly. Right. Yay,
exactly.
Ken.
Go, Ken. Go, Ken. All right. Sabrina, what's going on Geneva, on Ohio?
Life is wonderful. You're counting your blessings every day. My head has been under. It's been a Monday. You know how Mondays can just be like, whoo, why did I even take the weekend? Because Mondays can be so crazy busy. But we're excited about all the good things that are happening in the Monday household. This summer, springtime, summer travel schedule. I was looking at Kenny's schedule. He's looking at my schedule. And we're just praying and believing that COVID lets us go out and be great, okay? We just want to be great. So we know that some cases are rising, some people are sick, and so we're still telling people to be careful out there.
Right.
But go on and live your life. Just be careful, be careful, be careful. So life is good. Every day is Monday, baby. We are highly motivated in the Monday household. So ready for We Got Issues.
Wait a minute. Let me tell you something. Sabrina, clap to Sabrina. That chick is on TikTok for real, y'all. Y'all gotta run to TikTok and see Sabrina Monday. Caterina, I was in my car looking at TikTok. I was like, woo! I went like this. There was another Sabrina. I went like this. There was another Sabrina.
Shut up. Go on,
Yeah,
Bree.
exactly. Go on, Bree.
Girl.
I'm gonna go ahead and get me some. I'm gonna go turn the lights on later. Congratulations, Sabrina. It looks fabulous.
Thank you.
Hey, Caterina, what's going on the West Coast? How you doing?
Oh my gosh. Well, believe it or not, I'm still in Chicago until tomorrow. Okay. But this day, there's not that many days like this, but today it is 61 degrees in Brentwood, California, and 61 degrees in Chicago, like exactly the same. In Detroit,
wow,
it might be a day that is the same in a lot of places. So that is huge. We are having a family breakfast together with the whole family tomorrow morning, and then we leave to head back to California. So grateful literally the force of friendship is real. Just the support, all the support folks that have been staying in California with my dogs. I'm just grateful. Dorothy, who works behind the scenes, she worked along with Tyrone's friend, who was a part of our tribe, to live stream Anthony's dad's service. It was beautiful. It really was a blessing. Emotional intelligence. I got exactly what I prayed for, because I'm an only child and I prayed for a big family, and I got a big family.
Right, you got it.
And you guys know when big families come together, it's joy, it's exciting. And also when you come together for a funeral, there's always challenge and it's a lot. It can be high stress. But I want to tell you this new thing that we did at Dad's homegoing service that I will do all the time. And Antonio Golston told me, one of Anthony's spiritual sons, I'm going to have him on the show because he's just a great guy in his business. But he said at every family funeral, he started hiring a photographer. And I was like, I never thought of that. So we hired a photographer, and the repast was not your traditional repast. It wasn't at the church. The preacher threw a party for his daddy. It was fun. We danced, we celebrated life, and we had a photographer, and you get the best family photos at a homegoing service. It was just like, why have we not been doing this forever? I'm so disappointed that I didn't do it at my grandmother's service and my aunt's service and so forth. But we got the Earls, we got all three sides of the family, everybody, his mama's side, daddy's side, his side, all the kids. And so I can't wait. Awesome. We probably have 1,200 family photos, because gathering the pictures alone, we got tons of pictures, but a lot of people, I was like, can you send me a picture? Because if you don't get, people just don't have, that's great. We don't have enough pictures. So a great tradition at a sad time. sad time, and condolences. The last thing I'll say is Anthony did a really great job of giving a tribute to all the people that came to celebrate Dad Earl who didn't have the opportunity to celebrate their own family members during COVID.
Right.
So many people didn't get to
Right.
gather, didn't get to celebrate, they just didn't get
Right.
to do all of that that he got to do. And so we really, our prayers go. There's so many people I know, even in the chat, Carolyn Muse praying for you, and so many others that
Right.
really we are praying for that have experienced loss. So it's a challenging time, but it is a joyful time. He did live a full life, and thank you. The most beautiful bouquet right there, the flowers that were being tossed on site for Dad were the Force of Friendship flowers. And I saw the beautiful Force of Friendship. So it just, y'all, it's nothing like friends that become like family. I appreciate and love y'all. Emotional intelligence is an important topic. Let's just say
yes,
that. Okay.
It really, really is. And you guys, I gotta say this, something that happened on Sunday that I'm very excited about. Our church, Greater Grace Temple, has its own recording studio now. We turned a travel agency that we were using. And of course, travel agencies nowadays, you don't need a building, a big room to be a travel agent. You can do that sitting at home from a laptop computer. So we refurbished that space at the church, and it is now Graceful Records. So if you think you have a voice and you can sing and you want to come and have a record or, a whole entire album done, you can absolutely check out Greater Grace. I know.
The new Motown, girl, the new Motown.
Hey, don't play. Chuck told me, he said, now, you can record your affirmations. I said, okay, so you saying I can't sing? He's like, no, but you can record your affirmations. whatever. I said, the Lord didn't drop that, singing virtue on me. When he graced me with my talents, I didn't get that one, but I can do a real good pantomimes, but I guess you got to be able to hear it. But yeah, so that was really exciting. We had our ribbon cutting on Sunday. So again, I'm putting a plug in for Graceful Records. So if you are out there and you
love that name,
don't you love it?
Graceful Records. I love
absolutely.
That. Yeah.
So that's exciting, you guys. Well, we have a caller, and right before we go to the caller, let me just real quickly tell you what emotional intelligence is, or they call it EQ, which is emotional quotient. Okay, so emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, to use, and to manage your own emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. Emotional intelligence helps you to build stronger relationships, succeed at school and work, and achieve your career and your personal goals. It can help you connect with your feelings, turn intention into action, and make informed decisions about what matters most to you. So that is what emotional intelligence is. And so we're going to talk about, what emotional intelligence is and the signs of it and what you need to do. And then we're going to talk about what emotional intelligence isn't. So before we go to our break, we're going to go to Tony. Tony, are you there?
I am here.
Hi,
Tony. Thank you for calling. We got issues. Is this your first time calling? Yes, it is. Oh, awesome. Thank you for calling. Well, tell us your comment or your question. All right. So the topic, specifically, that kind of Julie talked about the unification benefit with the health, agreeing with God. So, full disclosure, I am let me describe myself. I am a retired U.S. Army officer. So 29 months in the war zone, suffered from PTSD, and I've got some issues like everybody else. So I don't even want to say it. I have the X. I don't claim it as the X, but I do have the X in my life. And I know a few years ago, she lost her dad. I can tell you when I think of X, and I don't use the word hate because it's a harsh word, but I have nothing but disdain for that. And, but I try to, I live my life, especially with the environment that I live in, that I try to overlook how I feel and take consideration of the woman lost her father. So I reached out to her to give her my condolences. I didn't have to do that, but I thought it was the right thing to do. And, you know, for her, she kind of took it to another level for whatever reason she had issues going on, but I genuinely just really let her know that, hey, sorry for this. And she tried to make it out, you know, it totally wasn't. And it was just a really,
Hey, Tony.
yeah.
Tony, let's hold on to that thought because we want to hear a little bit more when we come back. We have to go to break. Stay on the line, and we'll let you finish your thought. You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship, 9:10 a.m. The Superstation. We'll be right back after this break.
Okay, we are back. We are back from our break. You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship. And Tony, are you still there? Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, so go ahead and finish out your comment, please.
All right, so I was saying, so the relationship between me and the ex is especially because I used to work with Dan about there, but I reached out to a lot of people months ago. I think based on my military training, the therapy I've had being in the war zone, I could be emotionally to be somewhat close, but I realized that depending on who you're dealing with, grief is grief. Death is death. Everybody, regardless of how you feel personally, towards something, nobody likes to go through a period of grief. As for me reaching out to her, I think for me, I feel it was the right thing to do. For me, to let her know that that things happen, so I feel a loss. But she tried to take it to another level, which I wasn't happy. Trying to engage with her, and that was the only time that I could reach out to her and say,
Well, Tony, let me first of all again thank you for calling. We got issues, and I want to applaud you for having. There are 4 attributes that define emotional intelligence, and one of them is self-management, and that is being able to manage your emotions in healthy ways. And the fact that you have an ex, and we know when it comes to ex relationships, whether it's an ex spouse or love interest, sometimes they don't end on a good note, and sometimes you're like, I don't ever got to talk to that person again. But like you said, when people are grieving and they've lost a loved one, to be able to say, at the risk of me giving my condolences, it may be perceived the wrong way, you still pick up the phone and you still call. So to me, that's showing emotional intelligence because you were willing to risk being rejected or your intentions being taken out of context. So, I want to congratulate you on that. And, you can't make a person feel a certain way. All you can do is manage your own emotions, and that's a big part of having emotional intelligence. So, Tony, we appreciate you calling and sharing that with us, for sure.
all right, no problem.
All right, have a great day.
All right, you guys. So let's talk about the 4 attributes of emotional intelligence. The first one is self-management, and that basically is you're able to control your impulse feelings and behaviors. You're able to manage your emotions in healthy ways, take initiative, follow through on commitments, and adapt to changing circumstances. And so if we just stop there, we've all had to, over these last 2 years, we've all had to adapt
Right.
to changing circumstances. I mean, we didn't know if we were coming or going. I mean, so many things in our lives change. But of course, that's a part of emotional management, not letting change get you to the point where you can't do anything, where you're completely stuck. And that's not to say we can all be stuck for a minute, but to get unstuck is important. The second one is self-awareness, and that's when you recognize your own emotions and how they affect your thoughts and behaviors. And that is so important, because I always say, if you're feeling like you're in a funk, or you're feeling depressed, or you just feel like you're out of it, I always say stop and think about what you're thinking about. And every time
Right.
you can put your finger on the thought that is causing you to think the way you think. And so with self-awareness, you know your strength and your weaknesses, and you have self-confidence. And so I'm just going to stop on those first 2, and then we'll go over the next 2 attributes. So who wants to talk about what emotional management means to you?
Chris, I love this topic because I think that it addresses everybody, and I think everybody can get better at it. No matter how good you are at it, it's better. But I love the one you just parked on there, which is awareness, self-awareness, because it's true that so many times when we become aware, I tell people sometimes when you're not aware, it's like driving down the expressway and you can't get off the exit because you're going so fast. You don't even realize that you're zooming past that fast because you're not aware. But once you realize that you can get off at any exit at any time and tone yourself down, it will change your whole perspective. And sometimes what we're so angry about or misplaced angry is because we didn't see it the way other people saw it, and they don't see it the way that we saw it. And so it's like I always say to them, what's the benefit? Just before you go crazy like that, what is the benefit of it? And a lot of that comes from the awareness. And then the other thing I want to say is that girlfriends, one of the reasons that we're such good girlfriends and that we can mentor other people in this category is because we understand the value at checking someone else in their emotional mismanagement. Why? I wish someone would come and tell me something so that I could correct myself faster than let me go down a path because you're too afraid to say something because of the way I might react to your statement to me. Say something to me. Let me at least know that if I'm making a decision to be angry or making a decision to be unaware, that's my decision. But I think girlfriends are real true girlfriends when they catch a girlfriend who's not going in the right direction.
Wow. And that's very powerful that you care enough to say something to them and get out of your emotions on how it's going to be perceived. And I believe that when you're good girlfriends, you have enough, you've shown them enough down through the years that they know that you have their best interest at heart, even though they may be angry at first. And sometimes people say, anger, you shouldn't be angry. No, it's okay. Anger is an emotion. And one of the things emotional intelligence tells us is that you have to feel what you're feeling. It's not a good thing to mask those feelings and to hide them and not deal with them. That causes health issues and stress and all that. Deal with the fact that you're angry. And then now you can say, I'm angry because of this, that, and the other, and you deal with that. So I think that's really important. And then one of the other ones is social awareness. And that's a little bit about, speaks to what Tony said. Social awareness is you have empathy. You have empathy for others. And we've talked about, everything that's going on in the Ukraine. We've talked about, other people that we know that are going through challenges in their life. So being able to empathize with others and understand other people's emotions, their needs, and just basically having concern for other people. And so that's really important to have that social awareness. And then lastly, and this is a big one, to have relationship management. And that basically is how to develop and to maintain good relationships, communicate clearly, inspire and influence others, and you work well with the team, and you know how to manage conflict. Now that's a whole lot. And what I know about emotional management is that nobody is 100% at it all, but people that have higher emotional management understand that, and they are working on it consistently to become higher at it. So it is something that you can change. Doesn't happen overnight, but you can change it. Sabrina, it looked like you want to say something.
I'm just interested in the conversation, Crisette. I can certainly speak on it. And isn't it, don't you guys find that sometimes in our lives, we're better than others in all of these areas? And we can look at ourselves and or a situation and say, I could have been better there. And I think that's emotional intelligence when you, self-awareness, when you could have handled a situation in a better way. So I just think it's important that we are mindful. Emotional intelligence, it's everywhere. There's books, there's articles. If you want to get better at it, read it, research it, study it, practice it. And I just think I'm so grateful for this girlfriend circle, because if I'm in a tough situation or I'm about to respond, I always think, what would the girlfriends do? How would the girlfriends handle this? And I could just, you're either giving me an eye, you're saying something to me. And so, it's like, okay, let me respond intelligently. I think so my mother used to always say, think before you speak. That's just emotional intelligence 101. Think before you speak. And she would always tell us that once it's out, you can never take it back.
Yeah.
So
Right.
think before you say what you're about to say. And so over the years, I mean, I just know that that's an area that I've always, because I'm a talker. And I mean, I used to just let it fly. Okay. Used to just let it fly. And so now over the years, that has gotten me in trouble. And so I always listen. And if it's something that I really got to say, I make sure, especially in the business that we're in the people business. You can hurt people, you can prejudge people, you can say something that's going to hurt somebody for the rest of their lives by speaking too quickly. And so I think listening is such a good piece of emotional intelligence. We don't have to say it all the time. And so that's what I had to learn in this game of emotional intelligence, is know when to say it and know when to zip it. All right, that's important. So important.
Yeah, that is so important, Sabrina. It really is. You know, no, sometimes just because you feel it don't mean you have to say it. Sometimes,
Exactly.
you know, silence is absolutely golden. Oh my goodness, this is such a great conversation. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about emotional intelligence. Do you have it? Do you need it? Or do you need more of it? You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship. We'll be right back. We're back. We are back. We're back. We're back. Yes, we are the Force of Friendship. We got issues, and we're talking about emotional intelligence on today. Do you have it? Do you need some? Or do you need to work on getting more? Because emotional intelligence, it affects every area of our life. It affects our performance at school, at work. It affects your physical health, your mental health. It affects your relationships, and it affects your social intelligence. So You know, this is something that everybody can work on. So it's not something that you're necessarily born with, but it's absolutely something that you can work on, and you absolutely can become better. Katrina, I know you wanted to chime in. What's up?
Absolutely. I could say that confidence plays a big role in emotional intelligence, not arrogance, but because arrogance can have you feel like you always have to be the person to talk, but feeling confident and knowing that I'll get my turn, I'll make my point. I've learned to work on my face because sometimes my face can show what I'm thinking. You know, why are you saying that? What I mean, we've all had those thoughts like, are you kidding me? But here's a big thing that I got control of with emotional intelligence. We walk around with these devices, and that gives people access to us 24/7. And one of the things that I have learned, I've made major mistakes. And because of the mistakes, I've learned and to not make those mistakes anymore, is when someone texts you something crazy, you do not have to respond immediately. As a matter of fact, I know certain people that push my buttons. I will respond to their text, but I go on my iPhone, you scroll down there and you click hide alert, because I don't want that coming up in the middle of me sitting in church, getting my praise on in the middle, you know, I'm going to a Bible scripture and here's this person and popped up with something crazy. And you just feel like you get that immediate need that you just want to respond. You read the email and you want to respond. You listen to the voicemail and you want to respond. And one of the things that I've learned the hard way is if you respond to a crazy text with a text, it never goes well. If I respond to a crazy email with an email, it never goes well, because that there's no emotion attached to it. Part of our communication is, even if I was wrong and I want to apologize, I can't apologize over text or email, because the biggest part that's missing is the tone of my voice, my face. You can't always be face to face with people, but we have an opportunity now to be able to be FaceTime to FaceTime or Zoom to Zoom or something, or even a handwritten. There's something that happens when you handwrite a letter, the emotion that can be carried through a letter. So that's just one of the things I would say is it takes a lot of emotional intelligence to not hit send. Just don't hit send.
Katrina.
That's good. That's good.
That is so good, Katrina, because there have been times where somebody sends a text message and literally you can feel the heat rising up and you want to respond. But what I have learned, because that has happened to me before and I have responded, is that you cannot hear an inflection in the voice in an email. It's one thing for me to say, hey, Katrina, I need you to send that to me ASAP. And you're like, okay. But it's another thing if I text Katrina, I need you to send that to me ASAP. It may come across as if I'm demanding. I need you to stop everything you're doing right now and send it to me. So text messages is not the greatest when you know it can be taken out of context, or it can cause the problem to exacerbate and get bigger, you know. But let me just really quickly, I'm going to tell you seven things that people who have low emotional intelligence, seven ways people have low, that you can identify, I should say, low EI. The first one is low self-awareness. Okay. And believe it or not, that sometimes comes from, I was interesting to find out, from highly opinionated people. And it says a person with lower emotional intelligence will always fight that they are right. Will always fight that they are right. They will always find themselves arguing with others, and they don't want to listen to the opinions of others. And that's just basically, we all know people who think they are always right. Always right. I mean, if you know the light was red, they're going to swear it was green, right? And you waste time trying to argue with them. No, it was red. They're going to think. So that's low. People some of them that are very opinionated and they never want you to get your opinion across, that you got to check yourself. That might be low EI. Okay. The second one is,
Crisette,
yes.
But why don't those people see themselves as they are? That, you know, the people who need to be working on emotional intelligence, they will never look at these points and say, okay, how do we get those people to look at this?
Well, you know what? I think, Sabrina, is you have to be in a place where you want to grow. There are individuals that really do not want to grow. They are happy where they are, and they will always continue to be where they are because growth causes you to change. And I'm telling you, the easiest thing to do is to continue to be who you are and not change. It is harder to look yourself in the mirror and say, it's not somebody else's fault, but it's me. I'm looking at the man, I'm looking at the woman in the mirror. And the easiest thing is just to justify it and say, everybody else is wrong and I'm right. But people who want to do better and get better, there are a ton of people that can tell you they were highly opinionated, but they worked on becoming a better listener and saying, it's okay if people don't agree with me. And that's what we have to be. So you can't save the whole world. You can't increase everybody's EI. But for those who want to do it, they will hopefully do it. And then the other one is a lack of empathy. And these are people who are insensitive. People with lower emotional intelligence are unable to distinguish appropriate from inappropriate behavior. They often say the wrong things at the wrong time. How many of you have been in a room and you've heard somebody and you said to yourself, can you believe they said this or that? And now you can just look and say, it's EI. That's going to be my new thing. I'm just going to say EI, emotional intelligence. You either have it or you don't. So let's go back and just kind of talk about people who lack emotional intelligence, whether it is they're insensitive. And this is a big one. How many of you know people that blame other people? Right? They never want to take responsibility. They always saying, other people did this and they caused the problem. That's another. And I'm telling you, when I read these, I say to myself, you got to take responsibility for what happens, because the easiest thing to do is to point at somebody else. And my mother always said, when you point your finger, there are 3 fingers pointing back at you. Absolutely.
Right. Hey, Chris, I want to bring this up because when you talked about when someone's in the room and they say things are inappropriate, I was on a call with someone earlier and I was letting her know that the way she was feeling was showing up all over her face. She was creating the wrong energy. She can't attract the right people to her. Then she went on to tell me about her childhood. She went on to tell me about her abusive father. She went on to tell me about how her mother is in a really bad situation and that they couldn't find her for years. And I mean, she went on to talk about how strong her sister was when it came to protecting her mother, and she wasn't that way. I mean, she went on and told me quite a bit. My point is that sometimes the lack of emotional intelligence is because of their upbringing, or they don't know how. She said, I'm reading a book. She said, I'm reading several books to try to figure out how to deal with it. But it's so ingrained that, it takes grace to deal with people who are not good in that arena, because especially when it comes at you, you're quick to judge. You're quick to, you can't talk to me like that. And we don't realize that they're coming at that way from a place of protection, of they haven't grown in that emotional intelligence because it didn't serve them well when they were a child. So they couldn't get over that hump. I mean, I'm just really paying attention to a lot of this stuff because we're quick to judge them. When we're quick to judge them, it takes away from our emotional intelligence.
Oh, wow. That's so good, Gloria. I just finished reading a book, 13 things that powerful women do not do. And what's so good about the book is she's a therapist and she talks about the different women that come into her office and on whatever issue she is it, but it's every single one. And I'm just thinking when you said that, it all kind of went back to when they were children and something happened in their childhood that literally have impacted them in their adulthood. And it's just a reminder to us, that have children, especially if you have small children, how you treat them, what you are training them. It's not what's taught, it's what's caught. It will affect them as they grow into adults. So little people, they take in everything, and we're either creating people that will be well adjusted as adults, or need therapy. And of course, we know if you know better, you do better. So I'm not saying that we've all done the right thing. All of us, if we could go back, we would do some things differently. But it's just a reminder to us, that
Right.
Little people grow into adults, and a lot of what happens to them as children will not come out until they're adults.
Right. And they don't have that piece to play with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're going to go to our final break. You're listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship. We're talking about emotional intelligence. We'll finish our conversation right after the break. All right, we are back. And we're talking about emotional intelligence. Do you have it? Do you need it? Or do you need to get more of it? Listen, you guys, I'm going to tell you 7 signs that you have emotional intelligence. The first one is that you get along well with others. Okay. You get along well with others and you're interested in others. People with emotional intelligence, they are comfortable talking with strangers as they are with friends. And they are really good at reading people from their body language or their facial expressions. The second thing, they are self-aware of strengths and their weaknesses, right? So they know, that they aren't afraid of a negative evaluation, and they are always in a continuous process of self-improvement. They actually seek out feedback regarding their blind spots and their weaknesses. Number 3, they operate with integrity. Their key words are trustworthiness and conscientiousness. A person with a strong EQ, and that is emotional quotient, is in the area of highly ethical in business and in relationships. And this is important, they take responsibility for their actions. Number 4, they are self-aware of feelings. Okay. They have self-control when it comes to their feelings, especially anger or frustration. It's okay to feel it, but you have to be, when you have a high emotional intelligence, you don't explode. You can be angry. And that means that, you know what, I know how I feel right now. So it's best for me to walk away, get myself together, and then come back and join the conversation. They're able to observe their emotions in a detached manner and pinpoint the reason why they are upset. Remember, I said, think about what you are thinking about. And then number 5, they are present focused. Rather than whine or complain about what's already happened or what's to come, an individual with strong EQ is solution focused, looking for what they can do in the moment to solve the problem. And then number 6, they are self-motivated. They have a strong drive to achieve, a commitment to reaching goals that benefits the group, the organization. They take initiative, they're optimistic. And then lastly, and this is important, they have well-placed boundaries, okay? They are skilled at accessing what is realistic in terms of the time and energy required for a task or a project. They are aware of their limits and they know when to say no. And you know, we always say, we got to get to a place where we can say no. No is a complete answer. No, I can't. And sometimes, you know, people who feel like they have to be people pleasers, whenever somebody asks them to do something, they feel obligated or they feel bad if they don't do it. Then you have to, again, check your EI, because there are times where you have to say no.
Mm-hmm. That's so good, Chris. That's just so good. It's you have to say no to other people. Sometimes you even have to say no to yourself. It's not important. I wanted to add in also how gossip plays into emotional intelligence. It's easy to say something, behind someone's back about them that you're not comfortable saying. And I just want to say it takes emotional intelligence. The willingness, if something is really bothering you, it also takes emotional intelligence to go to the person rather than going to everybody else and you haven't told that person. It just, again, there's timing is important. Words are important. And sometimes you have to talk to somebody else to bounce ideas off of how. And it takes courage to confront. It's easy to talk to everybody else about it and never go to that person. And then sometimes your friends have to hear you say it on and on and on. And it's, years have gone by and it's like, you still haven't dealt with that. And so we call it in our house, in our family, we call it intense fellowship. And we had a couple of intense fellowships. And I would say that there were those that went wrong. And then I would say there were those that went right. I saw healing take place through an intense fellowship of, when you deal with the loss of a patriarch and people come together that have grown up together and people are carrying things from it. But it's a blessing when families have an opportunity for two people to come together and talk about something they might have been holding for 30 years, and you had no idea about it. And there's a right way and a wrong way. So that's it. I just want to say one of my pet peeves, Chris, with Christian folk, you know how people just always have a scripture for everything and they just go, well, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Some stuff you just really got to deal with. I'm like, no, just because you can quote a scripture does not mean you have emotional intelligence. You need to be able to really process and deal with it. Don't just patty cake me with a scripture. Like, to try to get me to be quiet. And I'm like, that just works me. And I love the Lord like you, but you got issues and I got issues and we got to work them out, so I just had to say that because church folks will go there in a minute and you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Absolutely. That was so good, Caterina. That was so good, and I agree. And that's something that we have to constantly remind ourselves of, our girlfriend, and I always think of her, our girlfriend, Nora, she always says, people can't fix what they do not know. And there are times where we get angry at people because in our minds, they should have known that hurt my feelings. They should have known better. They should have known they shouldn't have did this, that, and the other. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes they don't know. I mean, there have been times when people have said things to me and I'm like, what? And I mean, and because everybody are at different places in their lives, and so what wouldn't have offended you, and you thought it was something lighthearted, it actually hurt somebody else's feelings. And so emotional intelligence, I believe, is important, that you don't look at other people through your lenses, because we wear different prescriptions. I couldn't wear Sabrina's glasses. She couldn't wear my glasses, because we have different prescriptions and we see things differently. And that's why we're prescribed the prescription that we're prescribed. So I think that is also a part of emotional intelligence, is understanding that people are not going to see the world the same way you see it. So yeah, that's really good, Caterina. For sure.
Chris, answer these two questions. Felicia asked for you to repeat the book, and then Bertha had a really good question. What's the name of the book that you said you were reading?
13 things powerful women do not do. And it's by Amy Morin, Morin.
And then maybe Sabrina, you could answer this question. What do you do when you've gone to the other person several times? Thanks, Bertha, for asking that question. It's a great question.
Yeah, I think that's emotional intelligence right there. Chris, you said some people just don't know, but some people do know, and they're not willing to change their stance. They're not willing to give one way or another. And so emotional intelligence is leave it alone. Know when to leave that thing alone, because you're not going to change the situation. And so why break your heart? Why stress yourself out? You have to accept the situation for what it is and go on and pray for them and live your best life. That would be my advice.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Let me correct. That's true. Let me correct something. You guys, the book is, I'm sorry, I always say powerful. It's 13 things mentally strong women do not do. 13 things mentally strong women do not do. And it's by Amy Morin. The author is correct, but it's 13 things mentally strong women do not do. And you know what, Sabrina, you're absolutely right. There are times where people are not willing to change. It is just, change is one of the hardest things to do. What do we say? You can't teach an old dog what? New tricks. People are just stuck in their ways. And you can have that mindset, but the real truth of the matter is you can change. I mean, one of my favorite Christmas stories is the Christmas Carol. He changed in 24 hours after learning who he was and how he affected and how he could change the world. And if we are to have emotional intelligence, we have to be willing to change, because people with a high emotional intelligence aren't afraid to change. Well, you guys, that's it for us. You've been listening to We Got Issues with the Force of Friendship, talking about emotional intelligence. Come on, increase your emotional intelligence. I guarantee you'll like it, and so many other people will. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Good night, everybody.
Ciao. Bye-bye.